Hi, Isabella. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How's everything going?
It's going okay.
How was your week since we last met?
Good. Just, kind of feeling the same.
Okay, so nothing has really changed.
No.
All right. Well, I figured that I was wondering if you would, what do you think about trying to get down some goals um, for you in chipping away at some of the things that are going on in your life, the
Okay.
anxiety, your work, job. Um, I think it would be really beneficial for you if we just started kind of chipping away at the different things instead of looking at it as a whole? Is that very overwhelming for you when you look at like the
Yeah.
whole of everything that
Yeah, it is.
that needs to be done? And so I feel like I feel like that could probably be very overwhelming for you.
Yeah.
So let's what we'll do is we'll just get a few goals down this time. We'll start with two goals this week. Nothing crazy or intense or anything like that. We'll just what is the main thing that is going on right now that you feel is affecting everything, would you say?
I would say probably like the anxiety level and the stress level of like work and home, like as a whole, because
Okay.
that pretty much makes everything else worse.
Yeah.
So if I can get that under control,
Yeah.
then everything else might feel a little bit better.
I agree with you. Well, sometimes like anxiety can it affects our health. It can, it makes everything seem magnified,
Mhm.
right? Would you agree? Like it,
Yeah, I feel like I'm having a heart attack sometimes. So
mhm.
like, yeah, freaks me out.
Yeah, and then that goes on a whole little spin, right? Do you feel like
Yeah.
you all of a sudden you're getting those chest pains, your heart's palpitating, and the next thing, what happens next? You're dying,
Yes.
which is not true. So, all right, so let's start with one goal. What's one thing that we can. Now the whole point in me is not that I don't want to help you. I'm going to assist you. We're going to partner do this together. But you picking your goals you're on board with it. It's
Okay.
your goal. It's not me telling you what to do, but it's like it's things that it's you're becoming part of the plan
Okay.
instead of me just giving you a plan and then you going and doing it.
Okay.
Right? I think that
Yeah.
you'll take more stock in what you're doing if we're working together for you to pick what you need, what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So what is one thing that you can think about? Um, so we use SMART goals. Have you ever heard of SMART goals?
Yeah.
Like so they're like they're specific, they're measurable, they're I always say the wrong way, achievable, they're relevant, and they're time bound. So like it's a specific goal, and then obviously you're not going to be like, well, I'm gonna take 10 yoga classes and
Something I can actually do.
all right.
Got
So
it.
yeah, so give me one. So the first goal is obviously going to be to reduce anxiety,
Yeah.
right? That was
Mhm.
your first concern. So what is something that you think you can like one of the first things you can do?
I guess just make sure that it is just anxiety and not something that's going on. I mean, I know that of my age, like I shouldn't be having a heart attack, but it kind of feels like I'm having a heart attack.
Okay.
So maybe like going to the doctor and just seeing if there is an underlying cause to the chest pains.
When is the last time you've seen a
I
doctor?
mean, it's been a really long time, probably since, I've had my kids.
So do you have a primary care
I
physician?
Not that I've seen in years.
Okay. Our agency has a primary care physician
Okay.
that we work with. There's actually three of them. And so our first objective would be to get you an appointment, to go see a doctor. And so I can assist you in that after we're done here. We'll get the numbers and we'll set you up with one of our primary care physicians. I can just set up that appointment for you because it's easier for me to just go into the system and do that. And that's a really good goal. And
Okay.
so we'll take care of that'll be one of the first things that we do. All
Okay.
right. So what's another thing that you
I mean, I think that like maybe focusing on my kids, like getting some kind of mentorship program or something to reduce the stress at home or something like that.
Okay, but you jumped from reducing your anxiety to working with your kids. So
Okay.
how do you think we should take care of because do you feel like maybe your anxiety is trickling down into the home?
Oh, I'm sure it
And
is. Yeah.
so how do you feel about let's get your anxiety under
Okay.
control and then we will work with the kids, but I do believe once you're feeling you have that anxiety under control, you'll be able to, be able to talk with your kids, and we can obviously link them with services as well. If you want them to get counseling, we have plenty of, we have a youth, and children's and families department as well.
Okay.
That's one of the good things about the agency that you're working with, is that we have all different departments,
Mhm.
and we can wrap services around you and your whole family.
Okay.
Okay. So what would be something else for you, anxiety wise?
I think maybe getting back into going to church. Like, I haven't been there since fighting with my parents, but like it was something that always gave me peace. So maybe trying to get back into something like that.
Okay. Let's make, how do you feel about making that your second goal?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your first goal would be to work to reduce the anxiety. So
Okay.
let's come up with one or two more things that you can do for that in the moment. Practical
Okay.
things like mindfulness, relaxation techniques at work when you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, something that you can do for that. And then we'll take that other realigning yourself with your spirituality
Okay.
as maybe like goal number 2. How does that sound?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what would be another thing that you can do to reduce anxiety?
I heard like there's like breathing techniques like when I feel like the panic coming on or like the anxiety coming on. So like just be mindful of that and like taking the time to do it.
So we're going to put your objective is to be mindful
Mm-hmm.
of when the anxiety is starting,
Yeah.
right? Can you feel when that's coming on?
Usually, yeah.
Okay. So you're going to be more cognizant of that. You're going to pay attention to like
Mhm.
what is starting to trigger the anxiety.
Mhm.
And then we'll put breathing techniques. And I can walk you through the breathing techniques.
Okay.
There's also, have you ever done grounding?
No.
That's something that you can do, and you can do it right at your desk.
Mhm.
Might look a little weird, but are you like in a cubicle, or are you?
Yeah, I can close the door.
So it will be something that you can do at your desk, but it's another really great exercise to bring you back into the present.
Okay.
Okay. Um, and I'll help you with the grounding. And you're going to do this every time you feel anxiety.
Okay.
I'm writing this all down for you and me so that you'll have in front of you, so you don't have to remember everything when
Okay.
you get home. That'll cause you more
Okay.
anxiety. Okay. Every time you feel excited, this is what you're gonna do. And then I'm gonna put about 2 weeks out,
Okay.
just to see how those techniques are helping you in reducing the anxiety.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do one more. Your job is a high stress environment, is what you said, right?
Yeah.
So what is something that you can do to reduce the stress in the workplace?
I'm not really sure, like in the workplace. I mean, obviously, like always exercise or something when I'm home, but in the moment, I'm not really sure what I can do. I think maybe like writing out what's frustrating, maybe like in a journal or something, that I could do in the office. Something like that might help.
Yeah. Now, how is your relationship with your boss?
I mean, it's professional. Like I can um talk to her like, if something's really going on, she's a good listener, but we're not like friends.
Would you feel comfortable having a conversation with her and talking
Yeah.
about, say that, I'm dealing with, I'm working with somebody, I'm dealing with anxiety, and high stress, and maybe talking to her, maybe you both can figure out some way to alleviate some of the stress that you're feeling at work.
Okay. Yeah, I could do that.
Would that be something that you might want to try? So maybe just
Mhm.
having that conversation, because that could reduce anxiety.
Just take a little pressure off. Yeah.
It's like letting a little air out of the balloon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That she knows like that, and that you're obviously a good worker. She doesn't want to lose you, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think that would be a good step in helping you to bring her on board, and just so that you guys there might be some things where she didn't think, oh, I can give that to this person, or I can take that off your
Yeah.
plate, or something like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
let's put an objective is to have a conversation with your boss.
Mhm.
Uh, Okay. So you're gonna do that.
I mean, when it comes up, like I don't want to involve her in like obviously in what we talk about, but like having just like a brief conversation about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do that in the next week or so.
Okay, so we'll just put the next week and so I'm gonna put next week as the target date. So
Okay.
like by the time we meet again.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, your goal number 2. So you said you wanted to like you said you were talking about God and your spirituality, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always found peace in it, and I really didn't want to stop. I just kind of stopped because I got in an argument with my parents. So I really kind of want to get back to that.
Okay. Is reconciliation with your parents something that is an attainable goal?
I think
Is
so.
it possible?
Yeah, I think it, I mean, at this point, like I don't even really know what we were fighting about. It's kind of just happened and it just time went by. So I don't really even remember why we're not speaking. But yeah, I definitely think that reconciling with them is helpful. It'll help my anxiety. It'll definitely improve my kids,
Mhm.
you know,
Um,
relationships.
So how do you plan?
I mean, maybe like inviting them over for coffee and just kind of seeing where the conversation goes because I don't even know if they know why we're fighting, you know? So like maybe just kind of burying the hatchet and just having to open, like take the first step and having like coffee and
And having a
just,
conversation about that. Okay.
Mhm.
You have primary care physician. Um, can you handle having a conversation with your boss and reconciling with your parents in the same,
No, I don't think that's smart for me.
not in the same day, but in the same time frame, or do you,
So maybe like wait.
can we?
I mean, yeah, can I wait till like maybe a couple
course.
sessions because it's definitely stressful enough just to take one conversation at a time.
At a time. All right, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna put July 2nd.
Okay.
All right. And obviously we want to do that because I think reconciling with your parents, number one, is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But also it will help you and the family unit altogether.
Yeah.
Um, okay. All right. What else? What else with this? So getting back to church.
Mhm.
And then
Um,
prayer and devotion.
yeah, like I really liked,
You just mentioned that before, so it just
yeah, I really liked with starting my day, like with listening to my worship music and just, kind of praying and doing like a little devotion in the morning, just to kind of like you were talking about grounding, like that kind of helped me ground myself and I kind of missed that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's good.
yeah, that might be a great tool all the way around
Yeah.
and bringing some peace into your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you feel about these goals? Do you feel like they're attainable,
Yeah, I think
right?
so.
They're not far out of reach. I think that you were very smart in creating your boundary with like I can't talk to my boss and my and my parents again in the
Yeah.
same week.
It's a little much.
Getting back to church and then using prayer and the Bible and devos. That was what you
Yeah, I missed
really,
that.
and it
Mhm.
really was something that was good for you, and it was it worked well
Mhm.
for you.
Yeah.
And then after that, like I believe that anxiety piece is going to be huge for you.
Mhm.
And then once we can alleviate some of that, and then you can start working on some of the other issues.
Okay.
Not issues, but you know what I'm saying, other
Yeah.
things that need
Mhm.
to be worked on. All right. So we'll meet again next week and we'll make that appointment.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds
Okay,
good.
great.